Tonight, out with the old, in with the new. The changing face of Queensland's cabinet. Ministers reshuffled and sworn in after Jackie Trad left a gaping hole in the government. The bell rings as the eldest and the youngest head back to school across the state. Pressure mounts on the PM to shore up JobKeeper beyond COVID-19. Corona confusion in the White House. 11 Secret Service agents test positive as the Vice President lives in limbo. And a bid for bail exposes disturbing details about Melbourne's freeway tragedy.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. Anastasia Palaszczuk insists it's back to business for the government after her front bench imploded with the resignation of Jackie Trad. The New Look cabinet has been sworn in, with the Premier desperate to put 2 days of political turmoil behind her.
6 months out from an election and in the middle of an extraordinary economic and health crisis, Anastasia Palaszczuk never wanted to be doing this. In an almost empty, socially distant government house with very few people watching on, Queensland's New Look cabinet was sworn in.
It's very smooth. We are about getting back to work, getting on with the job.
Stephen Miles is now second in charge, taking over as Deputy Premier.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you for your faith in me, in supporting me to be your Deputy Leader.
Cameron Dick is the new Treasurer.
I'll be meeting with senior officers of Treasury this afternoon to start working through my briefs and working through the issues that I need to get across as quickly as possible.
While Kate Jones adds state development to her other portfolios.
And what we see here is a strong team that is 100% focused on the health and also the economic recovery of Queensland post-COVID-19.
Gladstone MP Glenn Butcher has been promoted to cabinet, even if he did sign the wrong spot. The urgent reshuffle was triggered by Jackie Trad's resignation from the front bench. She's being investigated over allegations of corrupt conduct relating to the appointment of a principal at a new inner-city school.
People make great sacrifices when they are away from their families and they are serving the state. And Jackie served her state.
This is a government that is rotting from the top. It's a weak Premier who seriously needs to tidy up her act.
Some better news for the government. There is now just 18 active cases of coronavirus in Queensland, and today there was no new confirmed infections. The light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter.
And John Paul Gonzo joins us now from Parliament House. JP, a board of inquiry has been confirmed into the Moranbah mine disaster.
Georgie, the Premier flagged this last week, but tonight we have new details about exactly what it means. The independent Board of Inquiry will have the power to hold public hearings and call witnesses to work out what went wrong at that central Queensland coal mine. Of course, we know 5 miners were badly injured, 4 remain in a critical condition, but 1 is now in more of a stable condition after that underground gas explosion. The Mines Minister has described what happened there as unacceptable.
This is the first such inquiry in more than 2 decades, because this is the first underground gas explosion we've had in more than a quarter of a century.
Anglo American, the owner of that mine, says they will cooperate with the government's investigation. They're undertaking their own technical review. Workers have been sent home and operations suspended. Georgie, we can expect an interim report from that Board of Inquiry by August.
Thank you, John Paul, with that update. There were tears and cheers at school drop-offs as almost 250,000 students returned to class for the first time this term. They walked into a very different environment with strict hygiene measures in place to keep everyone safe from COVID-19.
Hugs for mum and dad, elbow high fives for the teachers as preppies in year 1s led the charge back to school after weeks in lockdown.
I liked being homeschooled, but I'm glad to see my friends again.
Some were overjoyed, others a little overwhelmed at having to say their goodbyes at the gate.
She normally likes me to walk her up to class and I sit with her and read her a book or something. So it is a little bit hard, but we'll get used to it.
Inside the classroom, teachers weren't taking any chances, reinforcing personal hygiene.
On both sides. in between your fingers.
As each school introduced new COVID-19 precautions, including social distancing at drop-off and pick-up and staggered lunch breaks.
We've got a lot of hand sanitizer around the school. We've got lots of messages for our older students, and they're sensible. They've experienced this for the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Maintaining good hygiene and trying to keep social distancing so that I don't get it.
Many seniors were more than happy to return to school, sick of being cooped up inside for weeks on end.
Pretty excited actually, haven't been out of the house much, so it's good to get out and see all my friends again.
Homeschooling having its ups and downs for both children and parents alike.
Disastrous. I'm self-employed, so we've really struggled.
And the teachers put in so much effort making sure we had, a lot of activities to do, and we definitely kept on learning the whole time.
As the number of active coronavirus cases declines, so too the anxieties of parents.
They've kept us informed with what they're going to do, sort of with social distancing, that type of thing.
The state government will be carefully examining how things go over the next week, with the remaining grades set to return on May 25.
Fingers crossed everything went okay today, and of course it was the first day back. We would have expected a few teething issues here and there.
Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
In Canberra, it's largely been about the common good so far, but the government and opposition are now on a collision course over the JobKeeper payment. Peter Van Onselen joins us now. Peter, fireworks are expected when Parliament resumes tomorrow.
Absolutely, there'll be fireworks all week actually. The Bungalee Minister Angus Taylor will get a workout. So will what the Prime Minister did and didn't know around the sports rort saga. But as you say, tomorrow the focus will be on the economy and in particular some confusion around the packages that the government is putting forward.
Reports the $130 billion JobKeeper program might be readjusted.
We are just now starting to reopen our economy.
Required a Prime Ministerial clarification today.
All of this is very premature.
Premature?
We are 6 weeks into a 6-month program.
You opened up this speculation last Friday.
There was a review built into JobKeeper to be done before the end of June.
But are the reports accurate?
We've put the commitment in to support Australians over that period of time.
Whew, that's a relief. A commitment without caveats.
And as we need to adjust based on advice and the strength of the economy and how many people we're getting back into jobs, well, these are the things we'll be watching carefully.
Labor is carefully watching what might happen, telling 10 News First.
And this will just add to people's feeling of insecurity if the government from day to day is changing what it says might happen.
The opposition leader has broader concerns with the program.
Well, the problem is people who've simply missed out. Casuals, visa holders, there's the whole of the arts and entertainment sector basically haven't had any support during this crisis.
While the government may look to shorten the 6-month JobKeeper package, Labor says it might need to run longer.
Clearly what you'll need is a transition out of it, not it there one day and gone the next.
Alongside other changes to how Australia does business.
Before the crisis, we had insecure work, we had stagnant wages, we had many people really struggling to get by. We need to not leave anyone behind.
Meanwhile, tomorrow was supposed to be the day the Treasurer delivered his back in black budget. Instead, he'll explain how much debt the government's racking up combating the coronavirus and how much damage is being done to the economy. It's now unlikely Josh Frydenberg will ever hand down a budget surplus.
This impressive looking tree behind me is known as the budget tree, and Josh Frydenberg had hoped to be handing down a budget surplus tomorrow. Instead, the news is grim, but I think people will forgive the deficit blown out in the context of the coronavirus crisis. What they might be less forgiving about is the debate in the aftermath of that. How well has the money been spent? How targeted has it been? And when you weigh up what Labor's offering and will offer versus what the government's offering, that's where the meaty debate in politics will develop, as we all hope that jobless queues don't stay too large for too long.
Thank you, Peter, in Canberra. There are mixed messages out of Washington tonight, with the US Vice President's office denying reports Mike Pence is in quarantine. One of his key aides has joined more than a dozen White House staff to test positive for coronavirus.
During the pandemic, sometimes Mike Pence has worn a mask, other times he hasn't, insisting he's low risk.
Since I don't have the coronavirus,
I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to be here, look them in the eye and say thank you.
But by Friday, the Vice President found out he has been exposed by his press secretary. Yet after learning this, he went to Iowa and no, he didn't wear a mask.
I put the health and safety of the American people first.
Today it was revealed Pence has been quietly avoiding the White House since then, but after news of his self-isolation leaked, the Vice President's office denied he was in quarantine, saying he'd be back at work tomorrow. Not a good look for the President trying to reopen the country if he can't get his own White House in order.
Well, I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried.
But the disease may already be spreading in the West Wing. 3 members of the coronavirus task force are in quarantine, including top Dr. Anthony Fauci. The President's own valet has it, along with 11 Secret Service agents. Yet Donald Trump still won't wear a mask. Mike Pence's self-isolation wasn't the only bad news to hit President Trump today. New projections show the virus could kill up to 137,000 Americans by August, much higher than expected. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
A mother whose protest arrest went viral after her screaming son was taken from her by police is back in trouble with the law. The beautician is being investigated for carrying on her business against lockdown restrictions, and that was before fresh drama erupted today.
It was an ugly scene, no matter where you were standing, as a screaming boy was snatched from his mother.
He needs to be with his mother.
On Saturday, Renee Altacriti was among around 40 people rallying or exercising their rights against the lockdown restrictions. She was eventually arrested and fined $1,000 for breaching the strict rules, after also refusing to give police her details.
The right to protest is one of the basic tenets of democracy, and that should always be available. But it worries me that they're compromising the health of the people they're protesting. I didn't notice good social distancing at those protests.
Now there's a suggestion she may have also been operating her cosmetic business against the COVID-19 rules. Just days ago, a member of the public inquired on the business's social media page, "Are you open for business?" The reply, yes. Police have confirmed they've received reports about it, and if proven, it could result in a $5,000 fine. That's a hefty prospect for the Sydney mum who was at the centre of more drama today.
Should you have had your child at the protest release?
Since the weekend, Altacriti has reached out online to supporters.
Say thank you so much for everyone's private messages of love and support. Without you all, this wouldn't be possible. I really appreciate it.
A sentiment backed by another protester.
I will be doing everything in my power to get behind her and make sure she gets justice.
Yet the message from authorities is clear. Overall, police are praising the community's behaviour amid the restrictions as we now prepare for some of them to ease. In a state of about 8 million people, just 1,200 infringement notices have been issued. All issued in a bid to keep coronavirus at bay. Alice Hogg for 10 News First.
Disturbing details have emerged about the Porsche driver at the centre of Melbourne's fatal freeway tragedy. A bail hearing heard Richard Pusey has allegedly fantasised about killing people and bragged about speeding up to 300 kilometres per hour.
Accused of taunting dead and dying police, Richard Pusey believes he should be set free. The 41-year-old today applied for bail. The magistrate hearing he has an extensive criminal history. The court heard during the Eastern Freeway tragedy, he filmed for more than 3 minutes. Opposing Pusey's release, the prosecution argued he would commence a campaign of harassment towards witnesses, had abusive and violent tendencies to police and the public. He seems to become fixated on people, and he's got significant financial resources to allow him to flee the state. The mortgage broker's lawyer tendered a psychology report arguing Pusey needed psychiatric treatment outside of prison, but the prosecutor pointed out that same report also showed he fantasised about killing people. The court also heard Pusey texted a friend weeks before the crash, bragging, "I did 300 in the turbo yesterday. It was amazing." Wearing a blue face mask and rubber gloves, Pusey sat quietly in the dock for almost 3 hours, occasionally closing his eyes as the prosecution and defence argued their cases on why he should or shouldn't be granted bail. Magistrate Johanna Metcalf will hand down her decision on Thursday. Jade Kotick for 10 News First.
Coming up, former AFL coach Dean Laidley free from custody. We've got more details about his arrest. Also, a heavy load to bear, the rollover that created a nightmare in Barden. Plus later, the life-saving medical check left in limbo by lockdown, how you could be at risk. And in sport, another huge step in the right direction for the NRL with players back in contact.
It's MasterChef's biggest ever twist.
You won't know when, you won't know where. We're going to throw a twist in the mix.
They can plan all they want.
We've come up with a simple menu. I reckon we'll be able to adapt.
But nothing.
Everyone, stop what they're doing.
Can prepare them for the twist.
Oh, no. You're joking.
MasterChef's Week of Twists. Tonight on 10.
It is the heart of the home. It's the heart of our family. We need it to last a long time.
We definitely make the whole process affordable and easy.
So to create the amazing look without the big prices, beautiful kitchens that look amazing.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
This is for the hundreds of thousands of folks that keep racing going. Because just like you, we love it. And happily give back 4 times more than any of our competitors to keep them running. That money supports track workers, apprentices, farriers, caterers and more, right here. And that's worth backing. TAB. Long may we play.
Know when to stop, don't go over the top, gamble responsibly.
A healthy microbiome is a diverse microbiome. So LifeSpace Daily Probiotics contain up to 15 strains of beneficial bacteria to support yours through every stage of life. We can all be living innovation.
Huddling at home? Try Domino's new Chicken Palmy on Deep Pan. With 22 succulent chicken pieces and crispy rasher bacon from just $15 delivered. Order now with total peace of mind thanks to zero contact delivery from Domino's.
No, I found a dead body yesterday.
No mercy for an
I could have saved this girl.
There's only one person you need to save.
The brand new series, Hightown, now streaming only on Stan.
The biggest thing since joining My Budget is that we've eliminated almost all of our debt. And honestly, we have My Budget to thank for that.
Call My Budget now for your free consultation.
Have you been missing Mel, Lloyd and Celia? Well, they're back with Ed and Sam on the new season of Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight.
Well, good afternoon. The first day of the working week done and dusted. The run up the Gateway heading home is looking pretty good this afternoon, and you can see the top end of it here heading up over the Pine River Bridge and onto the Bruce Highway looking pretty good. The Gateway up through Bracken Ridge moving through quite nicely. No problems heading outbound on the Pacific Motorway leaving the city out through Greenslopes. We're doing A-OK. It's a good run too on Gympie Road, a little bit slow through Kedron and Chermside, but here at Beams Road through Castledome, it is looking A-OK. I'm Dave Andrews, thanks to Australian Pork, and Georgie, I'll check the roads again for you later in the bulletin.
We'll see you soon. Thank you, Dave. A ute driver has died after crashing into safety barriers on the M1. The accident happened at Shayla Park and caused long delays for southbound traffic during this morning's peak hour. The man was rushed to Logan Hospital but died shortly after. It's believed a medical episode may have caused the incident. Emergency services have faced a headache after a concrete truck rolled on Simpsons Road in Barden. The accident caused significant delays for motorists, with traffic diverted in both directions. The driver was taken to hospital in a stable condition. AFL greats have thrown their support behind Dean Laidley as he today made a bid for bail. The former player and coach is accused of stalking and possessing drugs, with the court told he's suffering gender and mental health issues.
Dean Laidley's son Kane left the Melbourne assessment prison, where inside his dad was preparing to be taken away to a rehabilitation centre. The former Kangaroos coach was granted bail after being charged with stalking and possessing ice. Police accuse him of making more than 100 calls to an ex-partner, including 43 on one night. The court heard Laidley is dealing with a number of issues, including gender dysmorphia and substance abuse.
At the moment, his main concern is his mental health, which has been for some months now. Prior to all this started, his mental health has been very, very low.
High-profile AFL figures provided character references, saying the behaviour was out of character, including Dennis Pagan, Mark Williams, Guy McKenna, Wayne Schwass, James Brayshaw and Brent Harvey. And the AFL Players Association has agreed to fund Laidley's treatment at a private residential facility. The 53-year-old appeared in court via video link from the Melbourne assessment prison. He had his arms crossed for much of the hearing. Several times he looked down at the ground or held his head in his hands. He spoke only once, replying yes when the magistrate asked him if he could hear the court. 4 Victoria police officers have been suspended over the leaking of photos of Laidley in custody.
Yes, he's devastated by it. Devastated, as is his family.
He'll be back in court next month. Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
With the return of students to classrooms today, school leaders are hoping the time spent educating at home has given parents fresh insight into teachers' jobs. A report prepared before the pandemic shows the nation's principals are at breaking point. Chris Campy joins us now. Chris, what's creating the stress?
Well, Georgie, some really concerning details have emerged from this survey that canvassed around half of Australia's school principals. Among the many key findings, one is the hours of work that they're putting in, around 55 hours on average each school week. And if that's not enough of a slog for them, the report also indicates that far too many of our educators are also suffering bullying. Now, almost half of the nation's school leaders report receiving violent threats. Around 38% of them have endured actual physical violence. Now, not surprisingly, many are giving up and resigning, and that's compounded by information that shows that 70% of our principals are aged over 50 and a quarter over 60 years of age. So if things don't improve, there are concerns that they will be hard staff to replace. But the Principals Association is optimistic that these recent times of home education and in the time of coronavirus, people's attitudes towards our educators may have improved.
And there's been enormous appreciation shown by parents of the work that schools have done. So hopefully that positive energy, that positive culture that has been built, it can carry on into the future.
Now, state governments are very aware of this information. They all receive the same report. Already, the Northern Territory and Victoria have made significant investments in order to change their structures, and they've seen a significant reduction in violence as well as an increase in job satisfaction. As far as Queensland is concerned, there is $8 million of state government funds on the table to follow a similar strategy and hopefully get some similar results.
Thank you, Chris. The Prime Minister has promised bushfire-ravaged communities they haven't been forgotten, despite the shift towards fighting the COVID pandemic. It comes amid claims some victims are still living rough months after the disaster.
How could anyone forget this? The coldest thing in a blazing summer was the reception for a Prime Minister, famously just back from his Hawaiian holiday and desperate ever since to make amends.
And a day has not passed in our government where those issues have not been getting the attention that they deserve.
The National Bushfire Recovery Agency has been spending money at twice the rate originally expected. They'll hit $1 billion by the end of June. But in Cobargo, the shops are largely closed, the ruins still riddled with asbestos, the people broken and desperate.
This community has been totally shredded, shattered, disassembled.
It's like we've been sort of forgotten about, you know, like it could have happened a long time ago, and it should have happened a long time ago. And there needs to be accountability for the delays.
Andrew Hayden lost his cafe and half a dozen other properties. Until recently, he says, some people were still in tents.
One particular girl that moved into my place was sleeping underneath an Moranbah bridge with a young 5-year-old child.
Much of the worst of the fire-hit area falls into the federal seat of Eden-Monaro, now the centre of a high-stakes by-election in tiny Cobargo, where a father and son died in a desperate bid to protect their property from the bushfires. The mood remains cranky.
There are some people that are depressed. Some people are having post-traumatic stress syndrome issues.
There is a fragility out there, and there is Australians that are healing at different stages, and we've seen the convergence of drought and fire, COVID-19, and there is a lot bearing down on these people.
The federal government plan is to spend $2 billion on bushfire recovery, much of it driven by what local communities say they need.
Look, we're working very hard to make sure there is no blockage, and there are no blockages to how this money rolls out, and we are finding that the money is getting into individuals' and businesses' pockets very quickly.
Hugh Rimington for 10 News First.
Time now for an early weather check, Josh. A frosty start across the southeast inland.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. All due to a cool change pushing through southeast Queensland. A frosty start this morning, especially across parts of the Darling Downs and Granite Belt. In fact, we had temperatures down to 1 degree for Dalby, Oakey and Applethorpe this morning. That is 7 below average for this time of year. Even areas like Ipswich got down into single figures. We've got a large area of high pressure, though, muscling on in, and it was a beautiful afternoon that did follow those cooler temperatures this morning. 25 the top in Brisbane, actually one above average for this time of year. A very pleasant 23 on the Golden Sunshine Coast. Slightly warmer a little bit further west, with Logan and Ipswich recording 24 degrees. And we hit a top of 21 out on the Darling Downs for Toowoomba. Now, we do have a pretty good week ahead, although those cool mornings will be a feature once again. We'll have all those weather details, Georgie, coming up at around about 5 to 6.
I'll see you then. Thanks, Josh. Ahead, Boris Johnson's plan to slowly wake Britain from its COVID-19 nightmare. Also, the virus re-emerges in Wuhan after a month of living in the clear. And the drive-in party worth raving about.
With so many deliciously easy recipes to try, you'll never get bored when there's pork on your fork.
Look what's on the must-see Monday menu.
It's time to shake things right up.
At 7:30, MasterChef's must-see biggest ever twist will blow your mind.
And this one is a beauty.
Then you better pay attention to these must-see lockdown lolls.
How are you enjoying waking up early and getting to do shopping before everyone else?
It's going to be a long season, folks.
Did we say you must see it? Tonight on 10.
When your hair's not weighed down, you can do the day. Introducing new Pantene 0% silicone. Unlike silicone found in ordinary shampoos, new Pantene has nourishing lipids. The difference is clear. New Pantene 0% silicone formula gives you lightweight, smooth hair that lasts through to the next day. Do 0% silicone. Do new Pantene.
If you're a small business, you've probably got a lot of questions right now, which is why you should speak to a professional accountant who's trained in planning and cash flow management strategies. For further support, contact a professional accountant today.
The Australian Government is supporting individuals and households during the coronavirus crisis. We've introduced the $550 coronavirus supplement, doubling income support for many. It means those on the job seeker payment could receive up to $1,100 a fortnight. We're also providing 2 $750 payments to veterans, pensioners and other households receiving income support. These automatic payments will support up to 5 million Australian households. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
With Light and Easy, you can still enjoy a huge variety of delicious healthy meals in the comfort and safety of your home, thanks to their chefs and dietitians and their contactless delivery service. In fact, Light and Easy has recently been rated Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service, scoring 5 stars for customer satisfaction as well as taste, variety and freshness, all things you'll find on their autumn menu. Enjoy delicious healthy meals with Light and Easy's contactless award-winning delivery. Order today.
It's time to wake up to sleep and get your unique bed match profile exclusively at 40 Winks. The 40 Winks bed match system uses over 1,000 scientific calculations and 18 statistical measurements to create your bed match profile. Our sleep specialists will then help find the right bed for you. 40 Winks, serious about sleep.
We remain dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. Call us to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
Do hay fever allergies prevent you from enjoying your day? Try the new look Telfast from Chemist Warehouse. It's the same 5-in-1 formula that works fast, is non-drowsy and gives effective 24-hour multi-symptom hay fever allergy relief, giving you the freedom to get on with your day. Right now at Chemist Warehouse, Telfast 180mg 70 tablets are $29.99. Breakthrough hay fever allergies with Telfast, Australia's #1 allergy brand. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
I'm going to propose. That's great!
How to Stay Married, Tuesday on 10.
This is going to be the best proposal ever.
Today should have been filled with predictions about what the budget will hold tomorrow, but with so much economic uncertainty, the Treasurer has pushed it back until October. However, we did get some numbers today. Deloitte Access Economics has done some modelling and it thinks we are on the cusp of two of the biggest deficits in our history. For this year, it's anticipating it to be more than $143 billion. Next year looks a little better at more than $131 billion. Compare this to last December, not too long ago, and it looked a lot different. Treasury was predicting back then a surplus of $5 billion. Now, any positive numbers are unlikely until the middle of the decade. The key, of course, to getting back to normal is getting people back into jobs, and the government has predicted that we will be at an unemployment rate of 10% by the June quarter. Deloitte thinks we'll be waiting until 2024 to get back to our pre-pandemic levels of 5%. So it will be quite a long time before things get back to normal. But let's take a look at the markets now. And the ASX 200 finished the day up by 1.3%. Some of the biggest gains came for travel and consumer shares, with a lot more optimism about the economy reopening. Webjet was up by close to 20%, and NAB was the only of the big four to finish down. Right now, the Australian dollar is buying just under 65.5 US cents.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced his plan to ease the country's 50-day lockdown. From Wednesday, the 1-hour daily outside exercise limit will be extended. He's also encouraging people to return to work if they can't do it from home. By June, the PM wants primary schools to reopen, with restaurants to follow in July.
We've been through the initial peak, but it's coming down the mountain that is often more dangerous.
But he's already facing a rebellion from the leaders of Scotland, Wales and Ireland for scrapping Britain's stay-at-home slogan. They say the new message of stay alert is confusing. The Chinese city of Wuhan has recorded its first cluster of coronavirus infections since its lockdown was lifted a month ago. Health authorities announced 5 new cases today where the outbreak is believed to have begun. All those who've tested positive live in the same building complex and weren't showing any symptoms. On Friday, the Chinese government unveiled plans to gradually reopen cinemas, museums and other recreational facilities. More than 250 people have been arrested during pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong. Police quickly moved in after small flash mob protests sprang up at several sites calling for independence from Beijing. Hong Kong opposition leaders are accusing authorities of using the coronavirus pandemic to clamp down further on their freedoms. German techno fans have had their party fix amid social distancing restrictions. Hundreds danced the night away in their cars at a drive-in rave party. Lasers, glow sticks and confetti gave the event a more authentic feel. Germany has also seen a resurgence in drive-through cinemas and Sunday Mass during the COVID-19 outbreak. We'll stay with us tonight's top stories. Follow the break. Also, the life-saving health checks lost in lockdown, and the new defence mission off the southeast to find those lost at sea.
Tonight, as Australia starts to open back up, how easing restrictions looks different depending on where you live.
We're introducing you to the unsung heroes of the pandemic. Tonight, the supermarket workers who formed the front line.
And we find out just how you can pickle all those leftover groceries you panic bought, because lockdown won't last forever, but all those bloody cucumbers can.
All that and more at 6:30. See you then.
It's MasterChef's biggest ever twist. They can plan all they want.
Everyone, stop what they're doing.
But nothing can prepare them for the twist. MasterChef's Week of Twists. Tonight.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase. BP Rewards. Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
As a proud Australian company, Andersons are keeping it real with our first ever Australian-made sale, supporting our local manufacturers. For a limited time, you'll save 20% off the entire range of premium Australian-made floor coverings and window furnishings store-wide. We have stock ready for your home, rental property or business. So call Andersons today for a free, safe in-home design consultation. Now that's a real deal.
Laidley is helping thousands of households save on average about $2,832 in interest over the next year on their home loans. That's millions in savings for Aussies when they need it most. How can Laidley help you save?
We're shaking things up, Queensland. With Containers for Change, you get 10 cents for every eligible drink container at your local container refund point. To find out where to cash in, visit containersforchange.com.au.
In a time of need, it's nice to be able to concentrate on the things that matter most. At KM Smith, for you, we think of everything.
And welcome back to the Sportsbet Elite Average Games. Last chance for the Aussies, bombing for gold.
They need to pull something big out of their budgies here, JB.
Oh, silly salmon into a horsey! Massive!
I've never seen one in the wild, but that is splash tag ridiculous.
Scores are in, and they've done it!
Showers of gold.
A make-it-look-easy moment from Sportsbet.
A promise is something Brighton Homes have always taken seriously. They're committed to building homes that let life in. But right now, a promise is more important than ever. Brighton promises that their homes will still embrace the best in Queensland living, with flexible deposit conditions and a price hold of up to 20 months. Plus, with a considerate cashback of up to 30 grand, you know the future is better with Brighton.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it. Clap, clap. Alright. So clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Have you been missing Mel, Lloyd and Celia? Well, they're back with Ed and Sam on the new season of Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight.
Hello again. Well, that's pretty much Monday done and dusted on the roads. Good run up the Gateway this afternoon from Nudgee all the way through to the Bruce Highway. Good run on the Pacific Motorway. It's a little bit slow here heading out through Greenslopes. In fact, all the way up towards Upper Mount Cravat is a little bit under speed. The run through the Gabba not doing too badly, both in and out of the city. Riverside Expressway, Captain Cook Bridge not doing too badly. And Coronation Drive between Toowong and North Quay, both directions, is looking fairly good. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Australian Pork. Have a great night tonight, and I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories: Queensland's cabinet reshuffled and sworn in. The Premier says it's now down to business to steer the state out of COVID-19. A long-awaited return to class. The eldest and youngest students head back to school as Queensland again records 0 new cases of coronavirus. And a war of words brewing ahead of federal parliament resuming tomorrow, with pressure mounting on the PM to make JobKeeper last longer. A new danger is emerging from the COVID-19 crisis, with people missing vital medical checkups. Melanoma is one threat where any delay in diagnosis and treatment could be deadly.
Actor Jessica Stafford has fought off some tough customers on screen, but none so life-threatening as melanoma.
I'm lucky to have my leg, I'm lucky to have my life.
As an aspiring actress, Jessica sunbaked for that perfect tan, but what also developed was a malignant mole, removed safely because it was caught in time. She's now speaking out after latest research confirmed Australians are avoiding skin checks because they're frightened of contracting COVID-19.
And they're thinking, oh, I might go when everything settles down. And my message is that they should go and they still be going to their doctor and they still be having their checks.
Because melanoma won't wait.
It can appear within a matter of weeks and then within a matter of weeks progressively increase in size.
New statistics suggest we're our own worst enemies. Almost 2/3 of Australians still actively tan because they believe it makes them more attractive. 9 out of 10 people understand sun exposure can lead to melanoma, but less than 1 in 5 protect themselves. And only about 10% of us are having an annual skin check. Even Jessica admits she thought about skipping her 3 monthly skin check because of COVID-19.
I was hesitant too, you know, I thought, oh gosh, what's going to happen? You know, how important is this for me?
Melanoma safe advertising's already gone down the shock and awe path of the anti-smoking lobby, but with little impact on case numbers. Sun lovers 30 years of age and younger still among the worst offenders, despite a lifetime of sun-safe messaging behind them.
COVID-19 should not get in the way of a skin check. It's critical during this time that you book in and don't miss.
Tim Collins for 10 News First.
Despite advances in technology, finding vessels and survivors lost at sea has often been like searching for a needle in a haystack. But now advances in artificial intelligence and camera technology could make all the difference in saving lives.
Off the coast of southeast Queensland, an Air Force Spartan drops its payload. It's a series of training dummies designed to test Defence's newest search and rescue technology.
It is looking for a heat trail or a difference in colour in the water.
Using artificial intelligence, it scans the ocean below, searching for objects it's been trained to find. In this instance, it's looking for life rafts and lifeboats, but in the future, it's hoped it'll help find those lost at sea. While the setup looks simple, it's extremely sophisticated and can be used in any aircraft, including drones.
Up until now, we've relied on eyeballs and people going in a boat.
Southport's Coast Guard is helping the Air Force conduct its testing off Stradbroke Island by retrieving the dropped dummies for reuse after the system is tweaked and improved to deal with everything from overturned boats to large swells that would hinder traditional searches.
We can be in the valleys of a wave and barely metres away from an individual in the water.
Even when searching for an upside-down target, the AI search had a 70% detection rate compared to human spotters at just 50%. Its algorithm also didn't deliver any false positives that could potentially waste precious time during a life-or-death rescue mission.
It will make our job so much more efficient and quicker, and time to the rescue and time to get to the individual or the rescue, that is of importance, great importance.
Further testing is on standby until the end of the pandemic. Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
It is sport time now, Jono. Positive signs for an AFL return.
Very positive. Hopefully get a green light very soon, Georgie. Thank you. Helleron coming up. Victorian clubs given the all clear to return to training. Now it's over to the AFL to make the call. That's next. The NRL's well on the way to their return date. Today it was back to contact training for players, and it was risk versus reward in the virtual Spanish Grand Prix.
So many deliciously easy recipes to try, you'll never get bored when there's pork on your fork.
How the pandemic saw humble Aussie supermarket workers become heroes.
Have You Been Paying Attention is back, and everyone's loving it.
Yay!
Tonight, get all your lockdown laughs Mel, Lloyd and Celia are back to play with Ed and Sam on the new season of Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight, after MasterChef.
It's a difficult time for Aussie families right now. And this is true of our Subway family too. We can't change what's happening, but we can bring you a little something fresh, tasty and Australian grown to take your mind off things. And when we do, you'll know that your family is helping Aussie farmers, local communities and one of the thousands of small business owners across Australia. So thank you, from our family to yours.
Creating the ultimate memories sometimes means creating the toughest stains. Improved Omo Ultimate is Omo's most powerful laundry liquid. It attacks your tough stains first time and whitens and brightens. Try Omo Ultimate.
Controversy here in the forgot a grocery bag lifting. Russia disqualified. Unexpected item in the bagging area.
He tried to put that Evo through as a brown onion and got busted.
Hi, I'm Jo. I work at Monash IVF. I've been a fertility nurse for 18 years. We want to be there for our patients. They've been trying for a while, they haven't had any success. They're not sure where to go to from there. They want some idea before they see a fertility doctor.
If you're struggling to get pregnant, get your questions answered in a one-on-one chat with an experienced Monash IVF nurse today. Monash IVF achieved the first IVF pregnancy in the world. MonashIVF.com, the pioneers of IVF.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
Darkness and daylight, pleasure like a smile.
Experience the delicious intensity of Lindt Excellence. The finest dark chocolate crafted to perfection by the Lindt Master Chocolatier. Excellence from Lindt.
When I first met Nugget, he was stuck in a hole. But I've been pushing him hard. Now, Nugget is healthy and regular. Take Metamucil daily, a natural way to stay regular and support a healthy gut.
We're going to throw a twist to the mix.
Nothing can prepare them for MasterChef's biggest ever twist.
Welcome back. Titans coach Justin Holbrook concedes he could lose Bryce Cartwright and Brian Kelly for the season if there's no change in the flu shot debate. The Gold Coast trained without their stood-down teammates for the first time today.
Eased restrictions meant the whole Titans squad was back training together, with two notable exceptions.
Could be weeks and it could be they may not play for the rest of the season. So as a club, we've got to stand them down. They haven't followed protocol that the government's now set, and until that changes, then I don't know where this will finish, to be honest.
The club is hopeful of a quick resolution, but if the players don't change their mind, it will require a Queensland government concession. Nathan Pete's back training today after getting the flu shot. Justin Holbrook admitting if it was up to him, Bryce Cartwright and Brian Kelly would do the same.
Well, I'm one of the 98%, and there'll be 98% in the community as well that will say just get the shot and come back to work. But those 2%, they got some, different views and different circumstances, and it's not that easy for those guys.
The tackle pads were out at Red Hill and across the NRL as teams held their first contact session in 55 days.
It was good. It's something that we haven't done for quite a while, obviously, so I think everyone was pretty excited to, get back and train as a group.
Definitely not a full throttle approach. It's more a progression stage.
6 weeks of isolation training serving as a refresher for Darius Boyd as he heads into the final months of his NRL career.
Take all the contact in the games out. I think you can play until you're 40. So obviously you have to get back in the contact and make some tackles and play week to week, which is the hard part.
Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Peter V'landys wants to revert to one referee for the rest of the 2020 season because it'll save money. Coaches are against it, while the players don't seem to care. But one of the best ever whistleblowers believes the only way to go is back to the future.
2 refs or 1? That is the question.
The game is better suited to one referee.
Ideally, you'd rather 2 because that's what we've started the season with.
So whatever happens, we're just going to have to deal with it.
It won't be the ref's call on this occasion if the NRL cut back to cut costs. To go from 2 referees to 1 was discussed at a Project Apollo meeting last Friday, and it has the full backing of a former top-grade whistleblower.
I think there's been a feeling in the game in recent years that the 2 referees is probably not achieving what it set out to do.
Introducing the 6-a-game rule for ruck infringements rather than blowing a penalty, another concern.
Taking that second ref away will just allow teams more time in the ruck.
Once you go back to 1, the main focus is there, slowing the ruck down and that sort of stuff, because you can obviously do it with 1 ref.
But to continually wave 6 to go, I think is fraught with danger. Whilst it sounds very exciting to be able to do that, I think it is fraught with danger. I think 5 in the bin and back the referees up to make those tough decisions. Give the referees a little bit of ammunition.
Greg McCullum spent 11 years in the NRL. He refereed 3 grand finals and did so with only touch judges as his support to make the tough calls.
It'll be a shock to the system. It's also exciting that the referees are going to be given the opportunity to once again go out and referee the game.
McCullum also gave words of advice on how officials should handle player back chat.
You just stop him from speaking. In our day, you didn't allow that to happen. Every conversation that I had with a player on the field, I started and finished.
Michael Caine for 10 News First.
The Storm will return from Albury to their Melbourne base later this week after Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews gave them the all-clear today. His announcement also means the AFL is now a step closer to making a call on their restart.
It was short-lived and full of controversy, but the Storm's Albury adventure will officially end tomorrow night.
In a way, a little bit sad to leave Albury, but we're going back home, so that's always a reason to celebrate.
Training resuming paves the way for footy to be back, and I think we all want that.
While AFL clubs are legally allowed to train from late tomorrow night too, it doesn't mean they will, as they eagerly await an announcement on the competition's return to play stance. And it seems unity across the country is now key.
Obviously there's different rules around every state at the moment. If everyone can start at the exact same date, I think that would be obviously optimum.
With some West Coast, Adelaide and Port Adelaide players currently serving mandatory quarantine, that would mean a return to training no earlier than May 21, while Victorian clubs also have an added hurdle.
They must be self-contained. So if they're using a training facility, an indoor gym for instance, or an outdoor area, it must be exclusively for them.
Should the game insist on that rule competition-wide, the Lions could end up big winners.
Probably one of the few AFL clubs that probably get to train at the ground they actually play on. Geelong may be the other one. So yeah, I guess it will be a bit of an advantage for us.
With the flu shot conundrum facing some NRL clubs, Zorko put an end to the idea his teammates could take an anti-vaccination stance.
Never heard of anything like that at our football club, so I don't think that we'll have any issues in Brisbane. And majority of us have already got it.
Meanwhile, Crows assistant Ben Hart has copped a 6-week suspension for overseeing the club's training breach. The 16 players involved have each been handed a suspended 1-match sanction. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Manchester City striker Sergio Aguero made his Formula One debut as the eSports series hit Spain, but he didn't worry the leaders, finishing 14th. George Russell went from pole to 5th on the opening lap. Then he copped a 3-second penalty for cutting corners, but his risky game plan paid off.
George Russell, pretend you didn't see
Charles
it.
got
Charles got a 3-second penalty! Charles Leclerc's got a 3-second penalty!
No way!
And George Russell's on his way to the win!
The late drama cost Leclerc the race and handed Russell his first virtual GP win. Brighton, the Premier League club of Aussies Aaron Moy and Matt Ryan, has had a third player test positive to coronavirus. Neither Socceroo star is believed to be among the trio, but the positive result casts doubts on the Premier League season resuming.
At the end of the day, we've said it 1,000 times in the last 8 weeks, you know, player and staff safety must be an absolute priority.
Even though fans will not be allowed in stadiums, the league's Project Restart faces resistance from clubs who will not approve plans to use neutral venues. Plenty more sport coming up in about half an hour's time, Georgie, including some bleak news for Rugby Australia.
Not sounding good. OK, thank you, Jono. Cool mornings are on the way. Josh has all the details after the break.
A small team of staff trying to keep Virgin in the air next.
It's MasterChef's biggest ever twist. They can plan all they want.
Everyone, stop what they're doing.
But nothing can prepare them for the twist. MasterChef's Week of Twists. Tonight.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
Legendary Triton now comes packed with 7 years warranty and a $1,500 bonus. Plus, for ABN holders, it could also qualify as an instant asset write-off. So contact your local dealer. They're open and ready to assist.
A third-generation butcher, born and bred. Pop's traditional recipes, Philly's head. His award-winning sausages are so sublime, you can enjoy these beauties anytime. The British Sausage, Ham and Bacon Company. Australian made the British way.
At Nature's Own, we know that fatigue can be either physical or mental. Nature's Own sleep and energy range can help you improve the quality of your sleep or support energy production throughout your day.
Your body talk!
Nature's Own. Be body smart.
There are 2 ways to make a mattress. The cheap way, one piece, single-sided with attached pillow top made out of foam. Yes, Mr. Harvey, they should be 50% off. The best way, 2-piece, double-sided, removable pillow top with thousands of microcoils and a 5-year comfort promise. Sorry, Mr. Harvey, we make them, you don't.
The Bellissimo mattress, made like no other mattress. Making mattresses, nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody.
Compensation claims are messy, but with Gouldson Legal, they don't have to be. Find legal jargon overwhelming? All good. We'll translate it for you. Not sure which way to go? No worries. We'll guide you. What about legal fees? Easy. Gouldson does it no win, no fee. 30% max. And telling your story? Don't stress. We'll look after you. Compensation claims made easy. Gouldson Legal.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase.
BP Rewards.
Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
Do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
Have you been missing Mel, Lloyd and Celia? Well, they're back with Ed and Sam on the new season of Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight.
They created a viral sensation for $14.
Beach Diz.
Meet the blokes behind Beach Daz.
Oh, no.
Plus, Under the Tuscan Sun author Francis Mays shares the secret Italian escapes you need to add to your post-ISO bucket list. We're living La Dolce Vita tomorrow on Studio 10.
It's weather time, Josh. A cool morning on the way.
Certainly will be, Georgie. Those temperatures down in single digits once again first thing Tuesday morning, especially for areas like Ipswich. And we'll get to those forecast temps in just a moment. Firstly, having a look at the weather cam. Today in Brisbane, we hit a top of 25 degrees, one above average for this time of year after an overnight low of just 15. Right now, not too bad, a little on the cooler side, 19 degrees, humidity at 47%. And the winds at 6 kilometres per hour. That air a lot drier out there at the moment. That's due to a change that pushed through southeast Queensland. And it was responsible for a cool start this morning, especially across areas of the southeast inland, the Darling Downs, areas like Dalby, Oakey, Applethorpe, all down to 1 degree this morning, a whopping 7 degrees below average for this time of year. Got a bit of a moisture feed in here from the Indian Ocean down over the northwest of WA into central parts of the country. Not really providing any rainfall at the moment. That high cloud just getting caught up in the jet stream. And we've got a cold front here in the southern ocean approaching the southern parts of Australia as we get through the midweek. But we've got a very typical weather pattern for May at the moment unfolding across parts of the nation. You can see it here on the synoptic chart. Here's our high pressure system sitting over central and eastern parts of the nation. We've got that cold front there starting to approach on Tuesday. But this high will be a feature over the coming days. What will it do? Well, it will provide the clear skies and light winds overnight. That will allow those temperatures to drop first thing in the morning. So again, across parts like the southeast inland, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw those early morning frost patches once again Tuesday morning. The other feature it will provide is some light onshore winds for the Queensland coast. Now, as a result of that, we could see some shower activity about the east coast on Tuesday, in particular around areas of the North Tropical Coast, Fraser Island and Moreton Bay Island areas. But apart from that, I don't think we'll see too much into the rain gauges, and any falls will be relatively light as we get through tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower along the southern coastline as well, but it will be those coastal exposed areas that will probably see the best of it. Moving into the big picture though, in Sydney tomorrow, looking at top temps at 21, a cracking day, plenty of sunshine, a very chilly start in Canberra, getting down to -1 overnight, early frost, and we're looking at 17 degrees for Melbourne tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. There will be the chance as that frontal system approaches South Australia, so 19 for Adelaide tomorrow, 23 for Perth, mostly sunny, and we're looking at a fine day for Darwin hitting at 34 degrees. But back home, chance of a shower for Cairns and Atherton tomorrow, topping out at 28 and 22 degrees. A fine day for the Isa and Longreach. We're looking at mostly sunny skies for Roma, 24 after a cool start of only 4 degrees. It should be a dry day for Rocky, Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. For the southeast, it will be partly cloudy, the medium chance of showers along the coastal fringe as mentioned. Overnight temperatures falling to between 7 and 12 degrees. Daytime temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. We're going with 23 on the Gold Coast, slight chance of a shower for the sunny coast, going for 22. Out on the bay, we've got southerly winds up to 25 knots in the eastern bay tomorrow. Now, there seems to be 1.5 metres, but I think you'll find they'll start to relax through the day down to around about that metre mark. For Brisbane City, 24 right on average for this time of year. It will be partly cloudy but dry as we get through Tuesday. Staying that way on Wednesday, just a possible shower on Thursday with 25 degrees, and it should be fine into Friday and the two best days of the week. For Ipswich, 25 after a cool start tomorrow morning. Wednesday, we're going for a top of 26 degrees, along with Thursday, staying dry over Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Stay with us. The extended forecast for the Golden Sunshine Coast coming up shortly.
Back in business, Queensland's new cabinet reshuffled and sworn in, with the Premier now trying to move on from the Jackie Trad saga. A return to class for almost 250,000 students, but school looks a little different as strict hygiene measures are rolled out. And the JobKeeper debate puts the PM under pressure. We're live to Canberra as fireworks threaten to erupt for the first day of Parliament. We have a development tonight out of the state government, I should say. A senior public servant in the Education Department has been stood down, reportedly in relation to Jackie Trad's principal scandal. It comes as a New Look team was today sworn in, with the Premier insisting it's now business as usual. John Paul Gonzo explains.
The Premier will be looking to put 2 days of political turmoil behind her, with her New Look cabinet sworn in this afternoon. Jackie Trad's resignation from ministerial duties sparked a string of promotions. Stephen Miles is now officially the Deputy Premier. Cameron Dick, the Treasurer. Kate Jones adds state development to her responsibilities, while Gladstone MP Glenn Butcher has been promoted to regional development and manufacturing. The Premier described the transition as smooth, insisting her team is focused on the job.
And we'll be hitting the ground running in terms of looking at what projects we can bring forward and what we can get underway right throughout Queensland.
So I'll be meeting with senior officers of Treasury this afternoon to start working through my briefs and working through the issues that I need to get across as quickly as possible.
But this is far from the end of the saga involving Jackie Trad. The Crime and Corruption Commission is investigating allegations she inappropriately interfered with the recruitment process of the principal for a new inner-city school.
Today's swearing in is just more musical chairs. It was a bad government yesterday, it was a bad government the week before, and it's still a bad government.
Queensland continues to make great progress to defeating coronavirus. There was no new cases today. It now means there are just 18 active infections across the state.
Close to 250,000 Queensland students hit the books in an actual classroom once again. But as Brendan Savage reports, there's been big changes to keep children safe.
Well, there was excitement and just a touch of trepidation among Queensland's youngest and oldest students as they returned to school. Many were glad to be back with their mates after spending weeks cooped up inside.
They're all so excited to be here and they're all rushing forward for hugs, so we're doing elbow high fives and all sorts of things.
I've had basically nothing to do and it's just been really annoying having all my siblings around.
It's so much easier to have a teacher in person to be explaining stuff in more depth.
Others weren't quite as enthusiastic about having to pull on the uniform once again.
Wasn't really ready for it now. Yeah, I'm not really interested in going back right now, but it's fine, I think.
There were a few changes to the routine, with schools implementing their own COVID safety measures. Students were encouraged to wash their hands or use sanitizer as often as possible. There were temperature checks at some schools, as well as questionnaires to assess whether they had any flu-like symptoms.
We're making sure for our little ones that we've got a lot of staggering of parent drop-offs and pickups. So kindergartens to year ones will be coming into the college over about an hour and a half period.
We've got the precautions, we've got our COVID Safe app running, so I think we're pretty good.
The state government plans to send the remaining grades back to school on May 25 if things go smoothly over the next couple of weeks.
The Prime Minister is rejecting speculation the government is considering winding back its $130 billion JobKeeper program. Scott Morrison has dismissed questions about a possible shake-up as premature. Network political editor Peter Van Onselen joins us now. Peter, the PM did leave the door open for other options though.
He did leave the door open, and that's part of the problem here. It's his rhetoric that has created some of this uncertainty about whether there will be adjustments to this mammoth program to try and save jobs. Now, it is the Prime Minister that used the word adjustment. He made the point that when they announced this in the first place, they talked about revisiting exactly how it might be structured in June. But a lot of people, understandably, are a little bit anxious about this. We know that the jobless rate has already spiked as a result of hundreds of thousands of people losing jobs. The JobKeeper package, $130 billion, is designed, in principle at least, to give people 6 months worth of $1,500 a fortnight wages to be kept in their jobs, and the hope is that people can come out the other side of it and therefore retain those jobs when economic activity gets busier again. If there are adjustments, if it shortens the length of it, or if it starts excluding particular groups or cohorts of workers, that's the concern that some people have, and that is where the Labor Party will absolutely go tomorrow. The Treasurer, he'll stand up in Parliament till tomorrow to give us an update on where the economy is at. He'd hoped to stand up, of course, and deliver a budget surplus, but that is not now happening. Instead, he'll take us through just how bad this crisis is, just how much debt has been built up. They shouldn't have gotten ahead of themselves, of course, and said we're back in the black when we're not, but I do think most Australians will forgive the use of debt if it can help bring down that unemployment rate.
Thank you, Peter, live there in Canberra. Brisbane City Council has given the green light to move ahead with planned reopenings of facilities from midnight Friday. Amenities including parks, libraries, outdoor gyms and skate parks will be accessible. The council says with restrictions on numbers, work is being done now to establish COVID-safe systems.
Obviously, common sense applies, basic hygiene applies. When you're using any kind of public facility, do make sure you take hygiene seriously.
Libraries will be among the tightest controlled spaces, with numbers limited to 10. 700 barbecues across the city's green spaces are also undergoing safety testing ahead of reopening. An independent board of inquiry will investigate the gas explosion at a Moranbah mine. 5 workers were badly burnt in the disaster. 4 are still fighting for life, while another has improved. The inquiry will hold public hearings and call witnesses to work out what went wrong.
This is the first such inquiry in more than 2 decades, because this is the first underground gas explosion we've had in more than a quarter of a century.
Anglo American, the owner of the mine, has launched its own technical review and has suspended operations. An interim report from the board is expected in August. An accused killer has been ordered to stand trial over the 2018 discovery of a body in a wheelie bin on Brisbane's south side. In court today, a neighbour described hearing a man screaming for help the night Kim Mitchell met a violent death.
It was a gruesome discovery. The decomposing body of 61-year-old Kim Mitchell dumped inside a wheelie bin at a Yeronga unit complex. The stench was too much for residents who alerted authorities in December 2018, 6 days after the victim was allegedly murdered by Adam John Charles Evans. 6 witnesses gave evidence at the 32-year-old's committal hearing today. One telling the court he heard an elderly man screaming for help on the evening of November 26. Another described listening to smashing glass, thudding and groaning sounds for up to 15 minutes. That person who was being attacked, they were saying things along the lines of "help me, no, stop, please help me." The accused is also facing unrelated charges for robbery, rape and deprivation of liberty. Mr Evans wasn't in the dock during the hearing, instead appearing by video link from prison. When asked whether he wanted to enter a plea or respond to the charges, he simply said no. He'll remain behind bars awaiting a Supreme Court trial. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
There's growing hope. Homeschooling has given parents a new appreciation of teachers. A new report shows 1 in 3 principals are facing burnout due to stress and a concerning number of violent threats.
If you've found schooling your kids at home a challenge, our educators hope it's provided some insight into what they endure during a normal school year.
And there's been enormous appreciation shown by parents of the work that schools have done. So hopefully that positive energy, that positive culture that has been built, it can carry on into the future.
An Australia-wide survey completed prior to the bushfires, floods and time of pandemic revealing a concerning decline in the mental health of not only students but those overseeing their education.
A look at the workload, how that can be addressed, looking at how schools and principals can be supported by greater interagency support when dealing with student mental health issues.
Almost half of Australia's principals surveyed report being the victims of violent threats, 38% enduring actual physical violence. More than a quarter suffered bullying.
Right through to serious threats, including death threats and really menacing behaviour and quite serious physical behaviour that ends up with hospitalisation.
Those contributions to a tough week not helped by the hours principals say they're putting in, an average nationally of in excess of 55 hours each school week. Victoria and the Northern Territory have both seen a decrease in violent episodes and an increase in job satisfaction after the state governments altered their strategies. The Queensland government has put $8 million aside to do the same and hopes for similar results. If conditions don't improve, it's feared attracting new principals could prove difficult. 70% are over 50, a quarter over 60.
Facing a crisis because the age of principals means that they are going to be retiring soon. If we don't find people to replace them, we're going to be in serious trouble.
Chris Camp for 10 News First.
Coming up, back in business, a sense of normality set to return to New Zealand. Also, the Queen is set to lay low indefinitely as public outings are deleted from her diary. Plus, the goose on the loose who proved to be one angry bird. And in sport, the Titans return to training without their anti-vaxxers.
Meet the Aussie workers who stayed on the front line. Plus the latest from the MasterChef kitchen as the competition starts to sizzle.
Red Bull gives you wings, now with the taste of watermelon. Also available in orange and tropical flavours.
Right now, knowing where you stand financially is more important than ever.
But with so many different benefits, rebates and concessions, it can be confusing.
That's why there's Benefits Finder in your CommBank app. In seconds, we can help you find the benefits you may be eligible for.
It's just one of the ways we're doing more things for more people together.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
We're helping lower the cost of dinner with some of the key ingredients for Texan-style beef and black bean chili. Like Coles No Added Hormones Beef Chuck Casserole Steak, down to just $14 a kilo. Save $2. Coles Real Beef Stock 1 litre, $1.90 every day. And Edgell Black Beans 400 grams, down to just $1.50. Find this recipe and more at coles.com.au. Lower the cost of your dinner at Coles. Good things, great value.
I'm off to see a man about a dog.
Ooh, I've got to make a little deposit.
Time to do some paperwork.
Hey love, I'm just off to download some software.
It doesn't matter how you say it, it just matters that you do it regularly. Take Metamucil daily, a natural way to stay regular and support a healthy gut. Get Metamucil from Chemist Warehouse for the best price.
Go take care of business.
Introducing Jumpstart by Light and Easy, the simple program that will help fast-track your weight loss success and improve your health.
Within those first couple of weeks, I noticed a difference within myself.
I found results straight away, and for me, Light and Easy has been life-changing.
Jumpstart combines the proven weight loss results of intermittent eating with Light and Easy's delicious, nutritious meal plans. Whether your goal is to jumpstart your weight loss or to simply eat well and improve your health, visit lightandeasy.com.au today.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Red Bull gives you wings, now with the taste of watermelon. Also available in orange and tropical flavours.
US intelligence have confirmed that the COVID-19 virus is not what? Sam?
Not good.
Well, we've got something good. These Fantastic Five are handing out some lockdown laughs on the new season of Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight after MasterChef.
The Trump administration is racing to contain a coronavirus outbreak at the White House, where more than a dozen people have now tested positive. Vice President Mike Pence reportedly self-isolated over the weekend after his press secretary came down with the virus.
I practice aggressive social distancing. I'll wear a mask when I feel it's necessary. It is scary to go to work.
11 Secret Service officers have also been infected, while 3 members of the White House's coronavirus task force have gone into quarantine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has mapped a path out of the country's 7-week lockdown, but outside England he's already facing a rebellion, with the leaders of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland accusing the PM of sending mixed messages. Europe correspondent Phoebe Bowden reports.
Trying to provide clarity about what happens next in the UK.
We must stay alert, control the virus and save lives.
Boris Johnson's ditching of the stay-at-home slogan seemed to have the opposite effect.
I don't know what stay alert means.
The UK went into lockdown together, but England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales will come out at their own pace, with controversy over what's right for a nation that's lost 32,000 lives. The PM says it's not the time to lift the lockdown, but wants some people to return to work. Until they do, the government is paying 80% of their wage.
We now need to stress that anyone who can't work from home, for instance, those in construction or manufacturing, should be actively encouraged to go to work.
And from Wednesday, he's extending the daily 1 hour limit on outdoor exercise.
You can sit in the sun in your local park, you can drive to other destinations, you can even play sports, only with members of your own household.
If cases and the daily number of deaths are falling, schools may restart in June. The first restaurants could reopen in July. As Boris Johnson mapped out the road out of lockdown, he also revealed fines will increase for people doing the wrong thing. Anyone over the age of 70 is ordered to stay at home. That includes the 94-year-old monarch.
I send my warmest good wishes to you all.
Queen Elizabeth set to drop public duties indefinitely. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
There was more good news for Kiwis today, with New Zealand further easing its coronavirus restrictions. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announced the country will move to level 2 restrictions this Thursday and reopen most of the economy.
Retail, malls, cafes, restaurants, cinemas and other public spaces, including playgrounds and gyms, can reopen.
People will also be allowed to travel around the country and play team sports. If all goes well, bars will reopen in 10 days. A woman in Canada has been stalked, then attacked by a very large and angry goose. The animal relentlessly charged its unsuspecting victim, forcing her to ditch her bags and run for safety. But the savage assault continued even inside the car, with the goose following her right in. She eventually escaped the onslaught, no thanks to her driver. Big question is, did she go back and get the bags, Jono? Yeah, well, or they left behind?
Very savage indeed.
Very savage. Over to you now with more sport.
Thank you, Georgie. Hello again. Rugby League First Titans coach Justin Holbrook says if it was up to him, Bryce Cartwright and Brian Kelly would have had the flu shot already. The Gold Coast side trained as a full squad for the first time today, but without their anti-vaxxers. Holbrook admitting the duo might not return this season.
It could be weeks and it could be they may not play for the rest of the season. So as a club, we've got to stand them down. They haven't followed protocol that the government's now set, and until that changes, then I don't know where this will finish, to be honest.
As it stands, the club would need a state government concession to allow them to train without the flu shot. When the NRL resumes on May 28th, it will be in front of no crowds, but the West Tigers fans may have a loophole. Teams took another step towards lift-off today with their first session of contact training.
It's never felt so good to get tackled, but the West Tigers are feeling it.
Might have to jump on some anti-inflammatories tonight and have an ice bath, but it's good. We play the game. It's a physical game, and it was hard trying to avoid each other, for the past couple of weeks.
The time off proved a blessing for Moses Mbai and Luke Brooks. They missed the opening 2 rounds through injury, but will be right for May 28.
I thought someone threw a tennis ball or a golf ball at my calf, and I turned around and looked around and didn't say anything, but then I went to take a step and realised that it was my calf that went on me.
And the whispers are getting louder. Josh Reynolds could be heading back to Belmore.
It's hard to put into words what he meant to the club, in my opinion. He's the Prince of Belmore, They love him there. He's a local junior, and he hasn't paid for a meal ever there. He's a bit of a local hero.
When the NRL season does resume, Leichhardt Oval is one of the favoured venues to be used. The best part for the West Tigers, they could be the only team that has a live crowd. That is because there are several houses that overlook this end of the oval, and those balconies will be hot property.
We can start selling tickets from out of there, start making money.
How much would they go for a ticket, you reckon?
Pretty expensive.
$2,000?
Four ticket, yeah. All right, we'll say that, $2,000.
Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
New Zealand Rugby is edging closer to a return, announcing a 5-team domestic competition kicking off on June 13. Meanwhile, Rugby Australia's financial black hole has got a lot darker amid reports that over the past 4 years, the organisation has blown $500 million. The 2019 annual report shows RA spent $120 million last year. That's over $320,000 a day. The World Rugby Rescue Package is expected to arrive this week, but it won't be near enough to clear all the debts. Lions captain Dane Zorko says the club must follow the AFL's guidelines for a return to training date. While the Victorian government has allowed clubs to return to the paddock, the competition's power brokers are yet to sign off on an official date, with some clubs having players still under quarantine.
A lot of our players have only just returned back to interstate as well, so, now that, there's obviously more of us back here, we need to be ultra careful with that stuff.
Zorko insists players have only trained in pairs throughout the entire COVID-19 lockdown period. Georgina, that is all in sports. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Jono. Well, coming up, the extended forecast for the southeast.
It's MasterChef's biggest ever twist.
We can't have you getting too comfortable in here. You won't know when, you won't know where. We're going to throw a twist in the mix.
They can plan all they want.
There is a twist coming, so we've come up with a simple menu. I reckon we'll be able to adapt.
But nothing
Everyone, stop what they're doing.
can prepare them
Here we go.
for the twist.
Oh, no. You're joking.
Can you guess the twist? MasterChef's Week of Twists, tonight on 10.
Introducing BP Rewards. Now you can earn points with every BP purchase. BP Rewards. Use BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards. BP Rewards.
Or you can choose to earn Qantas points.
Now that's what I call BP Rewards.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. BP Rewards. Your rewards, your way.
At Terry White ChemMart, we're more than just open. We're open to helping any way we can. With click and collect for your scripts and health essentials. Terry White ChemMart. Now that's real chemistry.
Should I be worried? With COVID-19 Health Assist, eligible members can receive health advice from hundreds of Medibank healthcare experts at no extra cost. See how we're providing better support today.
Domino's $5 pizzas are incredible value. They're made with fresh dough and vine-ripened tomato sauce, topped with stretchy and tastier mozzarella, and served with total peace of mind, thanks to zero contact pickup from Domino's.
Smartly monitor and track physical distancing at work with the new i2 Safe app. With smart monitoring Bluetooth, the app tracks worker distance to ensure a safe work environment. App access available soon. Register your interest today at cloudA2k.com/i2safe.
The COVID-19 crisis brings unprecedented internet traffic over the NBN network. To help support Australia during this time, we currently offer internet providers up to 40% increased network capacity. Our technicians remain on the ground wherever they're needed. And we're sharing updated tips to help you get more from your home setup. To find out more, visit nbn.com.au/response.
Hi, Sam. What can I do for you? Weather report, stock prices, shopping list, lights on, lights off? What does this can have that I don't?
Well, Red Bull gives you wings.
I had one of my apprentices tell me, you can regrow your hair these days. I didn't sack him. Cheeky.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Up next, Australia starts to roll back restrictions, some states more cautious than others. Your guide to pickling, why people have taken it up to get through the pandemic. And as the country shut down, these Aussies stepped up. Meet the frontline supermarket workers turned unlikely superheroes. The project next.
Time for a final weather check, Josh. A sunny week ahead.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. All thanks to a large area of high pressure sitting across the eastern part of the continent. We can see that here on screen as we get through Tuesday. It'll also provide clear skies, light winds overnight to allow those temperatures to drop first thing in the morning, down into the single digits for areas like Ipswich. And we'll see that widespread morning frost across areas of the Darling Downs and Granite Belt once again tomorrow. We've still got some onshore winds on the Queensland coast as well, and as a result, we could see some showers tomorrow through those eastern areas, in particular around the North Tropical Coast, Fraser Island and Moreton Bay Island areas. There is the slight chance we could see a shower on the southern coastline as well tomorrow, but nothing really heavy into the rain gauges expected during Tuesday. For Cairns, 28, the chance of a shower tomorrow, along with Atherton. It should be dry for Townsville, and 29. Chance of a shower for Mackay, but dry for Rocky, Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. Cool start for Roma, getting down to 4 overnight. For the southeast, it will be partly cloudy. The medium chance of showers along the coastal fringe. Top temperatures are 24 for Logan tomorrow, 19 for Toowoomba and 23 for Caboolture. Into Brisbane City, we're looking at a top of 24 degrees tomorrow. That's right on average for this time of year. Partly cloudy skies on the way and staying that way on Wednesday. However, there is the possibility of a shower on Thursday. Only light falls expected, drying up as we make our journey towards the weekend. For Ipswich, 25 tomorrow, staying dry Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Temperatures pretty consistently there in the mid-20s, although cooling down first thing in the morning, 8 and 9 degrees over the next couple of days. For the Gold Coast, we're looking at some showers developing possibly from Tuesday onwards. That's thanks to those winds tending a little bit more onshore. It'll be much the same for the sunny coast as well. Possible showers as we get across the next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday. That chance does increase on Thursday with 24 degrees and a top of 23 on Friday to round out the working week. So some showers for our coastal areas over the next few days. Georgie?
Thank you, Josh. And that is 10 News First for now. For more details on tonight's stories, make sure you head to 10 Daily, but stay on 10. The project is next. We'll be back tomorrow at 5. Have a good night. See you then.
Tonight, Australia starts to roll back restrictions, with some states more cautious than others.
You only get one chance to take this first step and to do it properly.
We chat to the small team trying to keep Virgin in the air.
But everyone's just quietly confident that you'll see Virgin Australia, or whatever we call it in the future, flying once again.
The Master Chef who couldn't take on takeout drops by to tell us where it all went wrong.
And as the country shut down, these